Hi there. Welcome to Bourbon Turntable. This is the show that blends the love of music with the love of whiskey. Tonight, we've got a really fun show with this band called Revelry. They're out of Tennessee. Their music is absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed listening to that, and I'll have a good time getting to know Zack and Dane and Cruze better, and it'll be a lot of fun. But before we get into that, I want to tell you about the Bar Cart Co-op. Bar Cart Co-op is a collection of friends who produce content for the whiskey enthusiasts. We have shows like Distillers Talk with Alan Bishop and Christy Atkinson. Alan and Christy will talk with distillers from across the country and around the world about anything and everything distillation. Alan also has a show called One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute. If you're a distiller, whether you're a backyard distiller or whether you work as your career as a distiller, if you have a question about anything, send it over to Alan. He'll post a video response to it, and we'll all learn from your curiosity. Alan also has a show called If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. This departs from whiskey a good bit and gets into things of the supernatural and the spiritual and unusual. And he has some fascinating guests. It's always a lot of fun. My Whiskey Den is on every Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. Pat, Mike, and Mitch will talk about craft whiskey. They'll talk about tastings that they're doing. They'll have some guests on from time to time, and it's always fun to hang out with the folks in the chat. Last but certainly not least is Whiskey in My Wedding Ring with David Levine. David does some great interviews on his podcast with distillers, and he has a blog where he'll post some wonderful reviews. And of course, there's our show, Bourbon Turntable. If you're listening to us right now, watching us on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. We would love for you to join us every time so you can be sure to catch great bands like Revelry. And we're going to have some fun things to drink on as well. You can also listen to us on your favorite podcast platform as long as it's Apple, Spotify, or Google. Guys, welcome to the show.
What's
going
up?
on?
Yeah. All right. So we'll get this out of the way right now. Zack, I can tell by your jersey that you're wearing that you're a Titans fan also.
Oh yeah, man.
So having a drink or two tonight will will come in
Gotta numb
handy.
the pain.
Oh my
Typical
goodness.
Titans, man.
Yeah, but yeah, so typical. I don't know. Do we just fire Mike Vrabel again and that makes it better? I don't know. Anyway, let's if you don't mind, Zack, we'll start with you and go across the table there. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do in the band.
My name's Zack Montgomery. I'm the lead singer.
I'm Cruze Blanky. I play drums in the band.
Yeah, and I'm Dane Lovern. I play bass and manage the band as well.
Yeah,
Keep them in line.
Well,
Right,
well,
Steve?
yeah. I've after listening to some of your music, I think that's probably the tougher of the jobs in the band.
Yeah, a little
Keeping
bit.
everybody in line. Yeah. All right. Hey, let's not mess around. Let's go ahead and have something to drink. Let's start with this Leaper's Fork bottled in bond. Leaper's Fork is out of Franklin, Tennessee. So just like their EP called South of Nashville, Leaper's Fork is from south of Nashville. Although you guys are actually out of Murfreesboro, is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah. All right. Well, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
All right. I love the old school passing the bottle around.
Yeah, it's muscle memory. We were gonna get glasses, but that's not us. This is what we're used to doing right here, anyways.
This is good. So let's talk about each of you guys, where you're from, and feel free to just keep passing that around as we go along. Dane, you're one of the founders of the band, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm founder. So is Zack. Really, Cruze is the only new one in the equation. We're a 5-piece.
Yeah.
So 2 of them we're missing 2, but Cruze, yeah, he came in 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, we're going on 2 years.
Okay.
Just over.
Revelry's going on 5.
Okay.
End of November will be 5. So, but yeah, so we've all been here since the beginning, but now it feels like Cruze has been here. It seemed like that was when Cruze joined the band, like I guess, started progressing. We're still working at trying to get stuff, but we did the
Sure.
Ryman back 2 years ago. That was like our first like big gig. So Cruze was there for that. Before that, it was kind of just getting to breaking us in dive bars in Murfreesboro and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's been a fun ride with
Yeah.
Cruze.
Yeah. Now, are you guys all from the Murfreesboro area?
I'm born and raised.
And so I
Yeah.
I lived down in Statesboro, Georgia for a few years.
Okay.
Uh, back when I was a kid, still living with my mom, and then or yeah, you're from Murfreesboro, too.
Well, I'm born and raised Smyrna, 10,
Sure.
15 minutes right up the road.
Sure.
Yeah. So Middle
Okay.
Tennessee area. And then our two guitar players, they're good old boys from Fayetteville.
Like almost
Awesome.
Alabama.
Yeah. Yes. Very South Central Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I am originally from Tennessee as well. I'm from East Tennessee, over near the mountains, so I'm a hillbilly.
Nice.
Right on.
But yeah, we'll get into more of that a little later when we're talking about some of the songs off the EP.
All right.
So Zach, when did you first start getting into to music yourself?
I taught myself guitar when I was 10. I fell in love with Nirvana. My
Yeah.
dad's played music my whole life, but he was more in the 80s hair metal days. And
Yeah.
I got into Nirvana and taught myself guitar on YouTube, actually. And then from
Really?
there, it's just I've had several bands. Then I found these guys, and it's pretty much there's nothing else that matters now.
Yeah. Cruze, how about you? When did you take up drums?
Man, honestly, I've been playing drums pretty much my whole life. My dad was a career musician until I was about 14 or 15. But I actually didn't start playing out music live until about 3 or 4 years ago. I always drummed in the garage and I loved
Yep.
music. And my brother's a really great drummer who's in the Nashville scene. And I don't know, one day I was just kind of like, man, I feel like I'm a pretty good drummer. I'm going to try to get out there.
Yeah.
And I started playing some cover gigs around town, and me and Dane knew a mutual friend. And when things kind of fell apart with their first drummer, he hit me up, and I came in for a filling gig, and I've been here for 2 years now. And so that's how that went.
So it's kind of a temp to hire thing.
Yeah. Basically,
Yeah.
they had a show, and Dane was like, "Hey, man, things are really not working out with our drummer. I know you're playing around Nashville. I've seen some of your videos. I think you're good. Can you learn our material?" And I was like, "Yeah. I got it." 2 days later, I actually double booked, and I text Dane back, and I was like, "Hey, man, I don't think I'm going to be able to rip that gig with you guys. I'm sorry, something came up." And I just get an immediate text back that says, "Dude, we already fired the drummer." So I had to like melt some things together after that. And yeah, it never was intended to be a full-time thing. I was just in it for, I was like, I play for some extra cash, kind of a second job situation. But I got really lucky because I ended up filling in that gig. I played a whiskey jam with them, and then that's how the whole Ryman thing fell together. So I
Yeah.
came in at the perfect time, and after that I was hooked.
Yeah. So did you play drums on all the songs on the EP?
Yes.
Or was that
Yeah.
okay? Great.
Yep.
Great. Great.
I think everything that we have digitally released except for two, which are the first like two tracks on there, I'm drumming on everything.
Okay. Yeah. And Dane, yeah, you play bass, right? Did you
Yeah.
start out playing bass?
No, I started out playing guitar. I actually got a late start. I think I got my heart broken in high school or something. And went and bought a acoustic guitar, and I was so bad for like 2 or 3 years. And I was in college, and I was just like wanting to play guitar more than go to school. So ended up putting time into it and got where I could play. I know Cruze said that we had a mutual friend. We met at Bonnaroo one year, which is a music festival
Yeah.
here in close to Tennessee. And was still like, I was just playing guitar and I could play chords, so that was about it. But around that same time, after I'd met him, we got back and he had came over to my house with our mutual friend, and my roommate had a drum set up in like the center of the house, and I just had my electric guitar and an amp, and our buddy was like, "Y'all should jam." So I think we went in there and played Simple Man, and it was just probably the worst thing ever. So then fast forward maybe 7 or 8 years, 6 or 7 years,
Yeah,
I
that
don't
was
know.
one random meetup that we jammed together.
So he was saying when I hit him up, he was like, "Dang, can Dane even play music?" And then of course he came out, and it was all good. But yeah, it was a rough start for me, but been going at it hard now, and everything's falling into place. I've been
Yeah.
playing bass for 5 years now.
Okay.
But when we started doing the Revelry thing, I picked up the bass guitar and
Yeah.
started rocking that.
There's some great bass stuff going on in your music. So
Anyway.
you've caught on and nailed it pretty quickly. So
At
who
all.
are the guys that are not with us tonight?
We've got Red. People call him Red Bird. They're both lead guitar players, I would call him,
Mhm.
but Red's more of the attack, like fast lead playing guy, and then Jay plays slide and also does his lead work. And Jay is the other one, Jay Worley, and he'll do harp and slide and some lead. So they both fill those positions as lead guitarists, and they kind of just switch out on the rhythm.
Yeah. They're great too. I mean, everything that you guys have going on elementally within the band, individually within the band, top notch, and then the way y'all bring it together is just fantastic.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, they grew up playing together. If I'm correct, I may be wrong, but I think they started when they were about 11. But they started
Yeah.
together because they were best friends, and they have been ever since.
Yeah.
So they've played for years. And then so like me and Zack met Red and Jay, and that's how Revelry started. And then Cruze came in or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like me and Zack are real close, and Red and Jay are real close. So it's just the chemistry's been there since the beginning. It seems like.
Yeah. Everybody's been in bands before, I guess. Maybe not you, Cruze. If this was you may have
Yeah,
stumbled into
like
your
I said, man,
first gig.
yeah, this is definitely the first, like, I'm like part of this band. Like I said, I started doing the cover thing and
Yeah.
having fun with that. But yeah, this was the first time. Yeah, they put a ring on it. I got committed to this one. I had to stop cheating out in these streets with all these other bands. I'm one band
Mhm.
guy now.
Yeah. Is there a band that either you guys have been in before that was just, oh, that was so bad, or you don't want anybody to know that?
The slow turn. So so let me preface. So my very first gig ever, which I love the dude to death. He showed me the ropes. He showed me what it was like to go on the road and how to book gigs and what that looked like, and just starting the whole Broadway scene. And so he put me on with a lot. But we were a pop punk cover band doing like a lot of like Blink 182 and like Green Day stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that is not these guys' bag too much. So I don't think they were big fans of my original band. And God bless him. He's a great dude. He is a phenomenal bass player, but he's rough for a lead singer.
Well, yeah. Well, not everybody can be a lead singer.
But like I said, he's a great musician. And for the pop punk stuff, it was fine. But
Yeah.
that very first practice I came in to fill with these guys, and I'll say it's a testament to the band. I pretty much went outside and I was like, I'm taking this gig. I played
Yeah.
with enough people to know when I came in and we started jamming around the first time, I was like, oh, these guys, this is different. This seems like a step up. So I was excited from the get.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so how long have Dane, have you and Cruze been playing together then? Is just 2 or 3 years?
Since, besides that one treacherous night at my house when we tried to play Simple Man, it's been a long time. Yeah, he was like, "Hell no, I'm never going back there."
Uh,
But yeah, so 2 years. I'm curious, what is the date? Do you know the date that you joined?
It's April something.
Okay.
We have that.
Yeah, that like party for
We have a restaurant in Murfreesboro called Champy's, and
Yeah.
we took Cruze out to eat, and we had him bring out a Revelry hat, one of our merch hats, on a platter with some shots, and introduced him.
Yeah, and they got me a custom bass drum head that had Revelry across it, and that meant
Awesome.
a lot to me because playing all these years, I've always had a kit at home, but I've always kept just something blank on there. Or I've had a few people that I've played with. They want me to get their first and last name because they're a singer songwriter on there, and I ain't doing that. I mean, if someone huge comes calling, if
Right.
somebody in the big league, I'll put your name on there. But yeah, people were like, yeah, can you pay to have my name on there? I'm like, yeah, nah, man, this is a fill-in gig.
um,
Yeah.
So Zach, have you had any bad band history?
Probably when I was in 8th grade, I had a band
Yeah.
that played like Nickelback and Theory of a Dead Man, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And my guitar player, he was so bad, which I still love the guy. I'm still friends with him. I used to turn his amp down before we started without him knowing, because I was doing it all anyways.
Yeah.
He never knew the difference. That's how ignorant he was to it.
Dane, how
What was
about
that
you?
band called?
uh, we changed our name so many times. Scars and Souvenirs, I think, was the main one.
Perfect.
What? Shitty name, shitty band.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Well, I'm a loyal man, I guess. I've only been with Zach.
Wow.
Like I said, I got the late start, and then me and him met one night through a mutual friend as well. The local bar down here. We were 21, and we did an acoustic thing for what, 4 years, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And then Revelry started. So
Yeah.
I've only ever had my eggs in one basket with Zach and Revelry.
Yeah. Um, what did you listen to growing up, Dane? I'm guessing it wasn't Blink 182.
No, it was
Yeah.
whatever my dad was listening to, which was usually Skinner or 38 Special or
Yeah.
anything. There's a local station in Nashville or Murfreesboro. It's 105.9, and then there's Jack FM, and they just play
Yep.
anywhere from 60s to 90s rock. I do remember when I was young, my favorite band was the Monkees for some reason, but that was like it was weird. I don't know why. I was like 5. I can barely remember, but
Yeah.
I've been told that I loved the Monkees for some reason.
Well,
But yeah, I
we,
was always raised around good music.
yeah. Yeah. How about you, Cruze? Who'd you listen to
Uh,
growing up?
Man, I like to pride myself on being a Kiss and Motley Crue historian. I feel like I was raised by those two bands. That was my
Yeah.
dad's thing. And growing up, they might as well have been the Power Rangers to us. We thought they had like powers, like Kiss, man. We were obsessed. And then Motley Crue for sure. My dad was just an 80s hair metal drummer, and that was
Yeah.
his thing growing up. And I wanted to be like my dad and do that. And so I started off on that. And then once I got into my teenage years, I got bit by the bug bad, man. I love Fallout Boy, Blink 182, My Chemical Romance. I went through the whole pop punk emo thing. That
Uh-huh.
just was my thing. I loved it.
Yeah. Well, we'll love you anyway. That's all right. Um,
He's all
Zach.
right.
Yeah.
I
Zach,
was raised on the
what were you
80s,
in?
80s stuff too. Tesla was my favorite band growing
Uh,
up.
okay.
Cinderella, Black Crows. But
Yeah.
then when I taught myself guitar, I was super into the grunge stuff, and my dad absolutely hated it. He was like, "They
Yeah.
ruined everything for us." when Kurt Cobain hit the scene, it just wiped out the hair metal stuff. So
Oh yeah. 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 Grunge kind of hit a peak uh real hot, and then I don't know, didn't seem to last that long, but man, it had a powerful punch, especially with what it did to hair metal bands. But um so let's make sure everybody knows where to find the band on social media. You guys want to talk about where you can be found?
Yeah. So Instagram, of course, and TikTok as well. It's at Revelry615,
Hmm.
and then Facebook is Revelry. Um, Sometimes it's weird, and you have to type in Revelry Murfreesboro, but I think we may have gotten that fixed. It should come up, but yeah. And then we do have a YouTube channel with a few videos on it. We've got
Yep.
two music videos out there, um,
Yeah.
and that's under Revelry. We if you type in Revelry, you're either gonna find a Kings of Leon song,
Right.
a bridal shower company, and then so I'm curious what the bridal shower is doing with the name Revelry, because
Hmm.
the definition of revelry is a loud, noisy festivity involved
Hmm.
with large amounts of alcohol.
Yep.
So it's pretty fitting for us,
Ha-
which I mean, I guess is fitting
yeah.
for a wedding too. If they're
Have you
parties.
have you booked any bridal shower gigs
Oh, that's
through that
that's a good
We are
confusion?
idea.
trying to desperately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we reach out to Revelry, the other Revelry.
Yeah.
Maybe
There
we
you
could
go.
get a collab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned your videos, and I'll go ahead and bring up one of these. Okay. Uh, Who is this guy?
That's we affectionately call him the part-time playboy, but
The
that is
part-time.
Dane's dad.
That is my
You're
father.
kidding. That is
Yeah,
so cool.
you
That
can't
is
make it up.
And
that
I
is
got to tell you,
awesome.
that is tame in the video. If people think that that's a put on or that is the most tame I've ever seen him. That dude rock and rolls all the time.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. It's the video. First, the song is great.
thank
Okay.
you.
It really, really is a great song. But you could not have had a video that would have fit that song any better. Part-time Playboy. You can find it on their YouTube channel. And Dane's dad is the part-time Playboy. Oh, that is so cool.
Dana. Yeah, he's a fun time. Actually, it's funny. We when we were planning on doing that video, uh, we had this friend of ours that was going to do it, and
Mm.
I don't know what happened, but it fell out. And a couple days before, I was like, you know what? We're calling my dad. And then we did it, and I was like, it wouldn't have. Yeah, like you said, it wouldn't have been. He was perfect for that whole song and that whole vibe. And he had fun. I think he threw up by the time he got home, but
Uh,
yeah, he definitely enjoyed it.
when I post this show, I'll put the link to the video in there
Cool.
too, so people can be sure to find it
And
because it's terrific.
yeah, and I said we had two videos, but now that I'm thinking about it, we due to past relationships with some people that helped us put some music out, they put out the music video for Dirty. We had
Yep.
done Dirty back um, when before Cruze was even in the band. Um, but yeah, we ended up having to take it down recently, so I'm working on getting that back up there. And then
It's
hopefully
up.
we'll.
I watched it today.
Dirty is still up.
Hmm.
Good to know.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, we re-recorded that one for the EP. Before I was in the band, that was the first song they'd ever cut, and I think they recorded it themselves.
Yeah.
And I mean, it sounded good, but when it came time to do South of Nashville and we had a professional studio and a better drummer,
Yep.
it was time to re-record it.
Sure.
Good choice. So where do you guys where did you guys play when you first started playing together? What type of gigs did you play?
There's a little pool hall right down the street called MJ's. That's where me and Dane started our acoustic thing at. We
Yeah.
actually played the grand opening, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were the
Wow.
very first act that played there, and then once we formed Revelry, we started playing there as well. And then a couple other dive bars, biker bars,
Fans.
places you really don't want to hang out, but you're there to play the music.
Yep. No, I've gone to places to listen to friends' bands that I probably wouldn't have gone to otherwise. So I get it. I get it. But you played the Ryman, so you went from MJ's Pool Hall to the Ryman. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did the Ryman come about?
So we have a friend. He's a rapper. He goes by Yellow Wolf.
Mhm.
We played a whiskey jam one night, and Jason Hollis, which is a Nashville guy, or he's an LA guy, but now lives in Nashville. He owns a venue up here called the Eighth Room. Um, we knew him from actually a whiskey jam as well, and just kind of had a relationship with him. And then he didn't like my original drummer, so I hit him up after Cruze was in the band, and we had this next whiskey jam coming up. I was like, "Hey, come out, come support, whatever." We got a new drummer, so he was like, "Okay, I'll bring some friends." So he ended up bringing Yellow Wolf, and we hit it off with him and hung out a little bit. And then we were in Macon, Georgia, a few weeks later, and he called me, and I was like, "This is weird." And he was just like, "Hey, are y'all free November 17th? Blah blah blah. Would you like to play the Ryman with me?" And we were like,
It was
"Yeah, it was great. It was honestly a shitty night in Macon." Yeah, you can go ahead.
So we formed that relationship at Whiskey Jam. We're in Macon, Georgia, and hey, we love Macon. We went to the Big House. We're big Allman Brothers fans.
Yep.
So we definitely got a lot of inspiration going in there. And we're just out back, and we're like, man, well, we got to leave. So we go to the venue to do a sound check. And we've played some dives. This place was on a whole nother level, man. There's no one there. The guys acted like they didn't even know we were going to be there that night.
Right.
So we do sound check. They demanded I play a house kit, and I don't know if you've ever seen those Questlove pocket kits where the bass drum's like that big.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm 356.3. It looked hilarious. So I'm already griping about that. We go back to the hotel. We've been on the road for like days and getting a little sick of each other at this point. And we're just sitting in the hotel room, not having a great time. And Dane busts in and he's like, dudes, we're like, what? What happened? What went wrong? He's like, man, we just got asked to play the Ryman. Dude, I felt my heart flutter. That night, we played that bar to maybe 13 people, and we played it like it was freaking the Ryman that night, dude. We gave that performance. I wish that could have been videoed because we were just in such high spirits. We played it as hard as we possibly could.
That is so cool. Hey, I mean that you'll never forget that till you play it again. But
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
let's go ahead and crack open the second bottle you've got, and this
You
is
do the honors on that one. Sorry.
this is Chattanooga whiskey. This is their cask strength bourbon. It weighs in at 111 proof. So I make the assumption by your music that you guys like whiskey, you're into bourbon, whatever. Is that a fair statement, or are you secretly White Claw drinkers?
No, we ain't that.
Unless it's for breakfast.
I was about to say this, but I think we're an anything drinker.
Yeah.
You know, man, we live by this rule in the band. You ever have people where they're like, I don't really like mixing things together. That's not gonna. I'm like, what do you, man? Just if you drink too much, you're not gonna feel good. Period. Drink whatever you like, whatever tastes good.
Yeah.
You know, we're
But
bourbon.
yeah, we're Southern. We like brown if we can, but if it's free, we'll drink it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Any go-tos, Zach? Anything that's a go-to for you in whiskey?
Jack and Coke is mainly what I drink, like if we're playing a show. I'm not normally drinking it straight,
Yeah.
unless someone brings us shots up to the stage or something.
Yeah. Guilty as
Yeah.
charged. Yeah. Jack and Coke is a great concert drink because no matter what the bar is, they can't mess it up.
Yeah,
and it's not going to be that expensive.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Chattanooga whiskey. Cheers, guys. I'm behind. I gotta catch up. So, you've had both of these tonight. What do you think?
I think I like this one better. They're both good, but I like this one.
The
fan of
second one,
this one.
the Chattanooga one.
Yeah, the Chattanooga one's sitting a little more right with me.
Yeah.
I like that. That one's. I feel like I want to drink this one on a highball, maybe neat but big whiskey rock. But that one, they're really smooth, man. I'm honestly impressed with both of them.
Oh.
This one, it's got. I think it's a little sweeter. You could say maybe.
Yep.
That one. I like this one
Yep.
better.
Yeah.
What is that in there that you eat, the like aftertaste? Is that rye or what?
I'm not the guy to ask on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that Chattanooga whiskey is famous for is they use malted grain. So it's obviously at least 51% corn to be bourbon, but they'll use like a malted rye and malted barley. That gives it some, a lot of times it'll give it kind of a chocolatey note. And so sometimes you'll get that out of it. But I like both of them. I think they're both really good.
Yeah, no, they're great.
They're both smooth.
Yeah. And I thought Tennessee guys, we should be drinking some Tennessee whiskey and tried to do something a little different than Jack or Dickel.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Yeah, this Leaper's Fork, we've played. There's a venue. What's that venue called up in
Fox and Log.
Fox and Log? It used to be a Buckets, I think. We've done some like open mic nights up there, and
Yeah.
it's a cool little town. So yeah, I didn't realize they had some whiskey distillers.
Yeah. So let's talk about this EP, because I've formed the opinion that if you don't like Revelry, then you're probably some psychopath that doesn't like music at all. Because you guys check a lot of boxes, and a lot of times you can just throw that Southern rock blanket over it, but um, you guys cross a lot of genres, which I guess Southern rock does. But there's a little country in there, there's some blues in there, there's some classic rock in there, and it all comes together really, really well. Um, the the first song off of, and by the way, the album art is exceptional. Each individual uh, drawing represents one of the songs on the album. Um, so, who developed this for you? Who did this?
So my little brother Isaac Blanke, he is a tattoo artist in Murfreesboro, right here
Yeah,
on Maine. He works at Black Diamond in Murfreesboro, and yeah, man, I'm just super proud of him. He's always been super talented with that. And when we were shopping ideas for the cover, I think it was Red, maybe, or maybe even Dane. Somebody was like, "Man, you ever seen like those flash seats of tattooing when you walk into a tattoo shop?" And we are like, "We have a unique story for each song," and
yeah,
I brought it to Isaac, and that's what he got back for us, and we love it.
yeah. No, it's great. It really is. I love it. Um, but the first track off the EP is "I Want You." Um, who's doing the songwriting in the band? How does that work?
It's really different for every song, I'd say.
That particular song, I'm pretty sure I was sitting in this room with my acoustic to start it, and I remember
Yeah,
sending you.
Yeah,
I sent it to the group, I guess.
I'm not sure.
You were on vacation.
yeah, you sent it to me,
And
and
I just had the first
FaceTimed.
verse,
hmm
and then he called me. He's like, "Dude, my wife thinks it's gonna be a hit. My family thinks it's gonna be a hit. Like, we need to do something with this." So then
yeah.
Is that the one we finished up at Cruze's house?
you came up with the melody for the chorus. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm not
Or
sure.
you were saying it needs to have something with ooh.
Yeah,
Go.
Yeah.
he sent me a voice memo when I was on the beach, and I put it on my loudspeaker for everybody. And I remember everybody was like, did Zach write that?" I was like, "Yeah, that's gonna be one of ours, I hope."
Yeah.
I would say,
Um,
like, generally, though, Zach's probably responsible for 60 to 70% of the lyrics, maybe even
yeah.
more than that. And then he'll kind of have an idea. Um, and it could be like a slow song or something, or like a song that's almost finished. And
hmm
he'll bring it to us, and then we'll get together and either help him finish out the lyrics or just kind of take. Zach's a sad boy a lot of times when he writes, so he'll have some like down stuff. And we'll kind of just maybe put the Revelry stamp
There's
on it and speed it
Yeah.
up or make it less sappy, or we stick with the sad stuff. It just depends. But yeah, it's lyrically Zach's doing most of the work, but
Yeah.
we all kind of all kind of a team effort.
you get in with those two guitar players, man. Just let them run loose on it, and all of a sudden it's a hard rock song from being a slow country song when it started.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, it's "I Want You" is it's kind of a simple, straightforward love song, but it's done exceptionally well. It is. There's some great dynamics to it as far as how the journey within the song. I mean, you can dance to it. You wouldn't want to see me dance to it, but I mean, you can dance to it. But what I have done, I have been driving down the road, listen to it, and sing the chorus to my wife. So that works. It works. It works.
Awesome.
love
Uh,
that.
but it is a great opening track, and it just, I don't know. To me, it resonates, head, heart, and soul. And intellectually, it's fun to listen to, and just the way you guys bring the whole thing together, it just, I don't know, it connects, it works, and that's not that can't be said for every song out there, or even every good song out there. um the EP takes a different turn with the next track, "Drunk," which is an incredible slow burn of a song. um and lyrically it's very powerful. Um, and if you're just listening to it and not paying attention, you can think, okay, this is the song where the band's singing about how great it is to be drunk and hey, let's all get drunk. And that's not what's going on here at all.
I'm glad you've pointed that out.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm again listening to this stuff with my wife around. She's hearing it. She goes, "What is that song? What is that talking about?" I said, "Okay." No, I said, "It's a band going to be on the show," and she said, "What are they talking about? Just getting drunk?" I said, "Okay, let's listen to this." Oh, okay, I get it. So talk a little bit about the inspiration behind this song.
Well, everybody in the band knows I like to drink. I've gotten myself in multiple situations that I wish I wouldn't have with that, whether
Mm-hmm.
it be relationship stuff, pretty much anything you can think of that alcohol can mess up.
Yep.
So that's really I'm trying to figure out, trying to remember how that came about though.
I thought you sent it. You were like, you inspired this because like I was going through all that. It was like you like it's kind of like based off yourself, but I was going through some shit at the time.
Yeah, just using the bottle to cope with stuff, and then
Mm-hmm.
still trying to tie it in to make it not sad song, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it describes perfectly like the temporary fix that
Yeah.
alcohol provides, but then of course in the long run it's always
Like in the bridge, why do I keep doing this to myself?
Yeah.
I say I'm done, and then I go right back. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. The authenticity of it and the honesty of it makes the song even that much more powerful because it talking about the line goes blackout. It's 4 a.m. Got 4 roses in my hand. There's a girl and I can't see her face, but I bet it's an old girlfriend. Hey, that
she's facing another way in the bed next to you. You just see the back of her
yeah.
head, and you're like, "Fuck,
It
I did it again."
it paints a picture. I mean, the lyrically the song is just outstanding, and I think the music just fits it so well because it's just a slow burn through the whole thing, and it's just a great song, and I congratulate you on writing it and having the courage to write it, coming
Thank you,
from
man.
a personal place. And I do like the 4 Roses reference. So,
I went through a big Four Roses kick for a minute. I
yeah,
think it was during COVID.
Yeah, I remember you. But look at you. You
My
said
dad,
COVID.
my dad would drink Four Roses all the time over ice, and he got me drinking. He was like, "You need to do this instead of Jack." So I switched to that, and then I haven't
well,
had it in a while now, actually.
well, again, we can't let these things get away from us. I'm sitting here hosting a whiskey show, and I've got to make sure that I'm not using. Hey, I've got a show to do. I've got to try this. I've got to try that. I
Yeah.
I can't let that get away from me either. And but I know a lot of people that are part of the whole whiskey industry that do. And quite frankly, there are people in the music industry that struggle the same way. So I think this song is something that I think is very powerful, and I think all of us can benefit from listening to it. And I think there are probably a lot of people that are making music that are the same way.
And this line of work is just everywhere, man.
Yeah, yeah. Well, everywhere
It's
you
hard to
play,
get
there's a
away from
bar.
it.
Everywhere
Yeah,
you play,
exactly.
there's a bar, and you may have they may say, okay, you get X amount of beer or X amount of whiskey or whatever with it, and then there, you know, people like me who mean well that bring shots up to the stage, and so
Yeah.
That's the thing. I can't tell you how many times we have those shows and we're like, hey, man, we got a lot of shows in a row coming up. This is the first night. That's the night everybody is your best friend and just keeps. By every time I say I'm not drinking, I never have more drinks bought for me.
right.
Yeah, the worst shows are always when you can like we don't have anything to do the next day. It's like we're gonna party hard tonight, and then we're like after the show, we're like, shit, let's go
Right.
watch
Do
TV
we?
at the hotel.
Yeah.
But yeah, but if we have to leave at 6 a.m., there's a giant party. It's I don't know. I feel like they know
Yeah.
something, but we don't.
Yeah. Next song is Dirty, and I've got a question to ask about this. The opening line, my boots would look good underneath your bed. Has that line ever worked for any of you guys in real life?
Sounds like a challenge, man. See who can use
Well,
use that one the best. Yeah, go ahead.
Shania Twain was my first love.
Uh-huh.
Growing up, I remember being like 4 years old and her music videos coming on, and me just being like, "Oh my gosh, I love her."
Yeah.
And then one day, when me and Dane we were in college, he had dropped his car off somewhere to get worked on, and I had to go pick him up from class. And "Whose Bed Have Your Boots Been Under" came on the radio.
Okay. I love
As
it.
soon as it
Yeah.
ended, I turned it down and just started singing to myself. And that song came out in like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Back when that song did come out, there was a big billboard in Nashville. I don't know, somewhere around where 2465 hit, and you come around this curve, and there's this huge billboard of Shania Twain uh, laying down with that leopard print bare midriff shirt on. And there was an increase in accidents in Nashville at that point in the interstate when that billboard went up. But yeah, she's great. She's great. So, but the song is a great song. It's it seems like it starts as a hookup and kind of goes to where there's a little bit of a relationship because you're letting her drive your truck.
Yeah.
And the slide guitar in this song is just fantastic too.
Yeah, everybody. Jay live, he plays that with a beer bottle, which is always cool for the audience.
Well, that's what it looked like on the video that he was playing.
Oh yeah, it is in the video too. I forgot about that. Yeah. So that's real.
And piano. There's some piano in that song, if I'm hearing it right. Who plays keys for you guys?
Is there keys on that? It's we have terrible memories in the studio. But to answer that question, Zach, if it's like some like basic stuff, Zach plays it.
I can fumble my way through chords and stuff, but I don't remember if we put piano on Dirty or not. We might have.
Okay,
So it's
maybe I'm hearing things.
It could be because I know it's on Take Me Home because like they're
Mhm.
at the end of the recording days, we were kind of just like we had one day to like add extra stuff to all the tracks after we did like 2 a day, and then we had one day at the end to kind of go back. So there may be some piano on there, but I don't think there is.
When you guys record, are you recording each element separately, or do you play it all live and then just add in whatever overdubs you have to?
We track it live. Really, the main important part of the live together part is me and Cruze getting locked in. As long as that's good, we can go back and they'll do their guitar solo overdubs, and Zack will go lay final vocals and harmonies and auxiliary percussion and all that good stuff. But yeah, definitely live. We prefer that over like just recording to a click individually.
Yeah.
Especially with me and Cruze, we can lock in when I can see him and we're in the same room.
Yeah.
We're like, it just feels like we're actually playing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it depends.
It bands that track live, it seems to have a bigger energy in the songs. The next tune is Them Jeans. I don't think I have to ask what the inspiration for that song is.
I like.
This song should be on every pool hall jukebox from Knoxville to LA. It's a lot of fun. It's a very fun song.
I think it's my
But
favorite.
is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Why is it your favorite?
I don't know. Well, I've had like three favorites through the recording process, but just
Mhm.
after listening back, that one's always fun to listen to. It's fun to play as well.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it's like it's energetic. It's high energy.
Yep.
Now that song does have keys on it,
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
and it's Peter Keys who plays for Leonard Skinner now.
Really?
That was really
That is
cool.
cool.
Getting him in the studio.
Yeah, that
That
was a
is
super
very
cool
cool.
experience in general. I think he came in and listened to it maybe one time, two at the most, and just
Mhm.
started going insane. Really, really cool experience just getting him to watch it, man. I'm telling you, like
Yeah.
2 listens at most. I think it was honestly one. And he got in there, and by the time he was done, he just turned around and he was like, is that kind of the vibe you guys are going for? And I think we all just had to like close our mouths. Like, I've never seen anybody play a piano like that, man. It was really cool experience.
yeah. He was like, "Damn, this is just a Skinner song."
Yeah, that was amazing.
Well, no, I mean, seriously, a lot of this stuff, I'm like, okay, I can picture, Ronnie Van Zant singing this. Um, but I mean, it's not just okay. Here we're going to just direct rip off Skinner, but you can tell that there's an influence there. You can tell there's some 38 Special and Allman Brothers influence there, but there's some other stuff in there too. Um, when you're getting ready to record, are you listening to other things like, okay, this is kind of the vibe we're going for? Do you listen to other bands' work, or do you just kind of we're going in and this is what we're doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Producers normally kind of ask, like, when they're, or I guess, engineer, when they're,
Yeah, they kind of asked like, what's some records you guys would like this to sound? Not as a sense of like song
Sure.
structure, but like what what are you going? Do you really like the guitars on this album? Do you like the low end of the drums on this album?
Hmm.
But from my experience, since I've been in Revelry, I don't feel like we've ever had. I don't think we've ever got together and been like, hey, we need a Skinner song. Hey, we need a radio song. I think from the
Right.
beginning, that's what's fun about ride music. I think it just comes out. We'll just take little pieces from other songs, or I'll be like, Zach, dude, I love that hook that you were singing last week. And then Jay's got this really cool guitar part. If you guys kind of try to, we just pull from here and there. But I don't think we've ever taken the route of like, we need this song to sound like these guys. I think we kind of keep it in house, original. I mean, obviously take influence, but I've never felt that we did a song like we were like, this needs to be more southern, this needs to be more country. We just kind of let the song fall together, and at the
Yeah.
end, if somebody wants to put a label on it, that's cool. But
yeah, I mean, anytime we step out in Publix, there's one person that's like, Leonard Skinner. Like everybody, I mean, everybody compares. So there's really no hiding the Skinner influences or the Allman Brothers. I don't know if you've mentioned this, but Greg Allman, big influence on him. Skinner, I mean, the two guitar players, like I said, they've been playing since they were 11, but they grew up learning that together. So,
Yeah.
like, our Skinner covers are real tight, but it's when we do our own thing, it's like they can't help but come out that way, you know.
Sure.
Um, and Cruze said we never like targeted to be like, hey, we need to do this or do that. But I will say, and we're about to get to it. So, but in the ground, it's on South of
Yeah.
Nashville. I think we kind of were like, hey, let's try to make something that's not like the rest of the EP,
yeah,
as in weird,
Yeah.
but
yeah,
other than
guys,
that, yeah.
spread our wings a little bit on that one.
Which I
Yeah.
guess
And
is
before we get to in the ground, back to them jeans. Have you thought about a song called about a sundress? Sundress would be those are pretty good too. So
yeah, like
Yeah.
undress,
sundress, yeah. Anyway, bad
undress that
joke.
sundress.
I've already got lyrics
I,
flowing. I'm like
I
hearing it
think
in
we're
my head. I think
I think
that's gonna
I
be
think
the
we're
next
writing
one.
it. I think we're
Yeah,
writing it right now.
we'll give you
Sunday, Sunday.
we'll give you writer credits on that one.
Zach's already got a
um,
name. See, man, it comes together just like that.
um, but again, them jeans, very fun song. Um, in the ground, not a fun song, but man, what a great track. this is, I talked about drunk being very powerful and poignant. This kind of takes that and then adds steroids to it. So basically, this is a song about the battle to avoid self-destruction. Are
Yeah.
is this coming from the same place as drunk, as far as how
Yeah,
you
man, just
came up with the idea for it?
just doing this stuff night in and night out, and just knowing you're being wild and crazy every night, and
Hmm.
drinking too much and other extracurricular stuff.
Hmm.
Just knowing what it's actually doing to you, like that no one ever wants to talk about,
Yeah,
and just being paranoid about that in the back of your mind when you wake up the
yeah,
next day or whatever. Like I
yeah,
can't do this forever. Like something's gonna happen eventually.
yeah.
I think Zach apologizes to his grandmother every time he sings it.
Yeah, when we play it live, I'll be like, I apologize to my parents.
I love that whenever the EP came out and Zach's mom said, "I'm so proud of you guys, but I sure don't like the name of that song."
Uh, um, but the line, "If I don't quit this life and start acting right, it's gonna put me in the ground." I mean, that first, it's sadly true. You can't, as you said, why do I run so damn hard? Well, you can't. And whatever your addiction is, whatever it is that's got you, whether it's, you know, drugs or booze or work for that matter, um, you gotta have things in moderation. As a band, how do you hold each other accountable for something like that?
We have a good cop, bad cop system. I don't know how to answer that. Dane's bad cop, I'm good cop.
Yeah.
But honestly, no. I think, and like, let me be clear, Revelry is all about a good time.
Mhm.
We like to have fun. We like to have drinks. We like to hang out with people, but we in no way support, substance abuse, alcohol abuse. We're not judging anybody. We all have our own problems, but we're not trying to glorify that
Yeah.
Not at all.
by any means, because we want everybody to be safe and have a good time. We're in this for the long run, but we all tend to slip now and again and, fall into the rock star lifestyle a little bit. And I think sometimes we just, with anything, we just try to take each other one on one, or sometimes you
Mhm.
can feel that friction like, hey, man, you know, maybe slow down a little bit. I don't think we ever get in too serious of arguments because all it usually takes between me, Zach, Dane, any of the other guys is kind of like, hey, bro.
Just knowing that your bandmates
Yeah,
are pissed at
I
you
know
'cause
these
they can
dudes
see
love
it.
me. Yeah, they care about me. So it's
Yeah,
never
right.
coming
Right.
from a place of, you're embarrassing me, you're doing this. They're like, hey, buddy, we care about you. Take it easy.
Yep.
I've noticed that there's been a pattern going on the last few days. So just work on that. And
Yeah.
that's pretty much it, man. We just try to
Yeah.
love on each other, but sometimes you got to be a little bit more stern.
Yeah.
And I feel like me and Dane are good because depending on the situation, I think sometimes somebody needs to come in hard. Be like, hey,
Mhm.
man, get it together. And then sometimes somebody needs to come in like me and put an arm around you and be like, hey, bud, what's going on?
Yep. Yeah. No, I mean, everybody needs somebody in their life that's going to tell them no, that's going to tell them the truth. And
Yeah.
without that, you're going to end up in the ground.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but incredibly good song.
Thank you.
Incredible. And the vocal, your, your vocals, Zach, are great on every track. This one is it's just a notch above the others. Uh, just really well done.
Thank you so
Um,
much, man.
That intro part with the very super low vocals,
yeah.
that's actually a big part of that is Dane. I'm sure you've picked up by now. You can barely hear him talk half the time. Dude, Dane has this incredibly low voice. And sometimes when he's singing, he can sing even lower.
Yeah.
And it was cool because when we were that whole intro part, that wasn't a thing. And when we went to the studio, we had in the ground and we were like, man, we just need something different. We're in the studio, we have the resources, we have a great producer. Shout out Warren Riker, he's the man. And he was like, dude, let's just get creative in here. We lowered some lights, we kind of got in different rooms, and we just kind of got a vibe going. And Zach hit us with that for lack of a better term, that Allison Chains
That
kind
bring
of
out the
like eerie
grunge
thing.
influence a little bit.
And then so we got in a
Yeah.
room and I was getting into it, which was hilarious. But I noticed like I'm sitting there, oh, I look up and all the guys are just looking at me. No one else is singing, and we had the laughing fit of all laughing fits. But when we looked back into that, Riker was like, "Where's that incredibly low tone coming from?" And we were like, "It's Dane." So we got Dane in the booth to do that super low part with Zack, and then that
Yeah.
whole thing came together, and that was cool because that was we were literally in the middle of recording it, and we were like, "Pause. We have a whole new intro bridge thing we're gonna put in there."
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. It made it different, which was
Yeah.
the goal.
Yeah. And well, mission accomplished because it is different. It still fits the feel of the album. But I could probably say it about any of the songs, but one of my favorites, if not my favorite. But my favorite, I think, maybe "Take Me Home," and because the little Rocky Top thing on the guitar at the end.
Yeah, it's red.
Yeah, you pick up on
I'll-
things, man. I
I'll
love that.
tell
I
you.
do too. Yeah.
I tell you, the first time I heard it, a little tear.
Yeah. That's all
Um,
Redbird, man. He's cryptic with that guitar.
Oh, so good. The song is so good, and it paints a picture. And as somebody that is from Tennessee that moved away because of work 20 years ago, I it kind of pulls on some emotions for me, and uh, I love it here. Love the life we have here, but it's nice to it's nice to go home and see the mountains, and so this song has a special place to me, but it paints a great picture. What was there's some storylines in there about traveling as the band and everything. Is that where the inspiration for the song came from?
Me and Dane actually took a trip out to Colorado
Mhm.
to see Tyler Childers at Red Rocks.
Very
And
cool.
That's awesome.
the high altitude and everything, we drank a lot and hit us way harder than we wanted it to.
Yeah.
I remember laying in the Airbnb in my bedroom that night, and I was holding my phone up, and I kept dropping it, and it's smacking me in the face. But I just thinking, man, I want to be back home with my girlfriend, with my family, because I hate the way I feel right now. It's basically what started it, but everything else is genuine. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, the first line is walking down the sidewalk. No one knows my name, so we're out of town. But Zach's infamous for waking up like way before the band, and he'll walk and get coffee for some reason, and it
like
does.
they'll sleep till 2 o'clock. I'm up at 8 a.m. no matter what we
Right.
did the night before.
He's done seen
There's
half
a
the city.
Starbucks. If there's a Starbucks anywhere in that town, Zach will find it and walk to it.
So I'm pretty sure like we're in Colorado, and you got up and
Yeah.
walked, and we're in Denver, and we were kind of like in the slums of Denver. I didn't realize that was a thing, but it is. And Zach just took off walking. I was still sleeping, and yeah, so that's real because you did go for a walk that day. I don't know if you wrote that night or the day after, but
I wrote it at 4 a.m.
after
After the concert.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Ed, you say we take pride in the orange and white and pray before we eat. Are Vols fans? Was that?
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Good night
Through and
last
through.
night.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yep. Just got to keep it going. Um,
Fingers crossed.
but the guitar solo in this song is great. But I think Dane, you and Cruze really. This is one of the songs where you guys really shine as a rhythm section of this band. It
Okay. Appreciate
it really hits, So that's the South of Nashville EP from Revelry. We've kind of gone song by song here, and Dane mentioned which one was his favorite. Zack, Cruze, do you have a favorite off of it?
Take Me Home's definitely mine.
Yeah.
Man, I think I love "I Want You." I think if I had to show somebody a Revelry song off the top of my,
Yeah.
like if I was just, I think I'd probably show them "I Want You." But "Dirty" means a lot to me, which is funny because they had already released it and cut that music video before I ever
Mhm.
joined the band. But I remember the first time Dane reached out to me about filling in, I was like, well, I mean, they look cool. Let me look up this song.
Yeah.
And I was sitting with my wife, and I remember I showed her the song, and she looked at me and she was like, "That's a hit." And I was like, "I know. I don't want to like it as much as I do. I love it. I feel like I have to." So I really, really, really
Yeah.
liked it. And I can say when I joined the band, the very first thing I would always tease the guys about, I was like, "We need to re-record 'Dirty.' It's such a great song. I just think it needs a little bit," and I'd always mess with that.
Yeah.
And "Dirty" was the first song because, like I said, I'd only ever been in cover bands before. "Dirty" was the first song that I clearly remember being in this band and people we've never met
Mhm.
knowing the words.
Yeah.
So even though "Dirty" was something that was written before I was in the band, "Dirty" just means a lot to me because it kind of just signified like making the right decision and seeing people sing a song that I feel like is mine,
Right.
as a band like that. It just means a lot to me. People really love that song, and it's very, very Revelry. It's just everything
Yeah.
about it. Like it just gives me a good feeling. I still listen to Revelry's "Dirty" when I'm by myself, and I'll never be
Yeah.
sorry for that. I love that song. I'll put it on at a party, and it just makes me feel things.
Yeah. Uh, the new single is Shadow. That's been out, came out late August, I think. Um,
Yeah.
this is
Really
kind of a mid-tempo rocker feel to it, so a little bit different than what's on south of Nashville. Uh, did did I hear some mandolin? Is that going on in that?
That's
No?
Redbird.
Yeah, that's Redbird.
Redbird. Well, I've got to meet Redbird at some point. But very
He's a,
introspective lyrics. Yeah. So tell us, what was the inspiration behind this song?
well, I was going through a rough patch with my girlfriend at the time.
Hmm.
We kept breaking up like every few weeks, and just things weren't good. And we'd broken up for a while at this point, and I would like hang out with other girls and stuff. And I could just every time I was with those other girls, I would just be like, man, this all I can think about is her.
Yeah.
Feeling of just kind of like how I came up with the song. I was thinking like, what this should be her right here right now. Like, let's get over all this crap because I need
Mhm.
you back. And I sat down at piano and came up with the main little melody and stuff. Then I sent it to the guys and we worked it up to what it is now. But that's
Yeah.
Shadow's my favorite song that we have. And I've
Yeah.
been wanting to record it forever, and we finally did. And I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. No, it's a really good song, and the the guitar outro is kind of a Freebird style thing there. Again, I'm not trying to slap a Leonard Skinner label on you guys, but
We don't
it,
mind
it
it.
Hey man, if
it's
we can get
it's
compared to Skinner, we're happy with it. There's
it,
no,
everybody has their influences in whatever it is that you
sure.
do in life, and those influences are going to come through with the things that you do, the things that you create, the things you say, the way you talk, whatever it may be. Um, but yeah, it really does kind of put that Freebird uh, a bit in mind. But a, a great song all on its own. Um, so again, been out for a couple weeks, so everybody be sure to check that out. Um, the we've talked a little bit about part-time playboys. So uh, Dane's dad,
Damn.
Dane's dad. That is just so cool. Um, that that song was what, a couple years ago? Is that right?
Yeah, what, two? I think 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that came. I know the or the riff was me, um, and then we have a friend named KJ that would back a couple years ago. He's got a kid now, but back like before that, before the kid was born, he would come to shows a lot. Or no, take that back. He did have a kid, but he stopped coming around as much because he had a kid, and he would come out every now and then for a show. And KJ's a decent looking dude, so he would always clean up at the bar. Like he would always do good for himself. He'd always meet somebody, whatever. Um, but then he would go home. We wouldn't hear from him for a few weeks. And I think me and Red were riding in the car one time when I was like, "Dang, he's like a part-time playboy." Because like half the time he's being a dad, and then the other when he's out on the road with us, it's like he's part of the band or whatever. So that was like the inspo behind it. But then now that Dana, my father, is in the video, it like I said, I feel like we wrote that song and didn't really even mean to write it about him, but it like fits him perfectly. But the bass riff, yeah,
I think we wrote that lyrically, me, you, and Red.
yeah, I can't remember.
I don't think Dana goes by his name anymore. I think he is just part-time Playboy now. I don't think he would respond if you said his real name.
Yeah, I gave him one of my like Playboy T-shirts, like how Playboy makes the like clothing line or whatever, and I
Yeah.
there for a while I bought a lot of it, but now I've just given it to Dana because he's like he's encompassed that persona so much.
You've created a monster.
Yeah.
I have. I'll like pull up to his house and like he doesn't have the best eyesight or like really like aware of his surroundings as much anymore, and he always has the music blaring. And I'll every time I pull up, he's usually like out back with his iPad and his speaker like dancing, but he doesn't know I'm there. So every time I'll just like sneak up on him and scare the crap out of him. But yeah, it's like anytime. It's like if he can dance, he will.
Yeah.
It's something you need to witness in person. I will say that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I can get to a Revelry show and meet Dana and see him in action. Um, the You've got a gig coming up. We mentioned it a little bit, but playing with them Dirty Roses.
Correct. It's in Nashville at the Mill, which is the Cannery Row. But we're on the second floor, which used to be the Mercy Lounge. It's called the Mill now. Yeah, and that's October 4th. So
Yeah.
you and your wife should try to come out if y'all can.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure part time will be there.
We're really looking forward to that show. Two really good Southern rock bands. Them Dirty Roses are good friends of ours. We try to
Yeah.
party up with them every time they come in town. And I've been to that venue a few times. I haven't got to play it, so we're excited to play it. It's going to be a homecoming for sure. We're going to have all our friends and family and all our fans out, and Them Dirty Roses
Very
will
cool.
draw a great crowd, and we're excited to
Yeah.
play it with them.
Very cool. Very cool. And you've got a new single coming out soon as well.
Correct. October 2nd. It's a song called "Runaround." It's more on the heavy side. It's real swampy. So
Love it.
yeah, that's the goal, and then our goal is to drop one in November as well to finish out the year.
Great. Right. Is the pattern that you're trying to get to, are you going to do another EP pulling together the singles you've released, or are you just releasing some singles and then you've got another album that you've got planned to come out
The
next
plan
year?
is to we did the work in the studio with south of Nashville, and then we have recently come into this X32 rack, which has the capability of recording. It's got an in-ear system and all. Actually, been using that. We self-recorded Rollin' and Shadow, and then we've
Hmm.
cut two more that we're going to release. So that's the plan with the singles, and then there's a little bit of dead time in the music industry from like November to January. So I think we're just gonna do a little like writers retreat with the band, go up to like Gatlinburg or
Right.
something,
Yeah.
and write and start working on either the next EP, or if we have enough songs, an album
Hmm.
would be nice.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, the whole like single a month thing is really just to stay relevant, and it's
Yep.
songs. Runaround's kind of been in the bank for a while. Me and Zack wrote that back when it was just me and him years ago, and we kind of reworked it recently. And then we've got we're doing a cover of a Four Non Blonde song that we're gonna
Oh,
release in
cool.
November. What's up? So yeah, it's just things like it's really just the relevant part of it, just trying to stay relevant and stay
Yeah.
busy and keep content pumping out because it's social media is what
Yep.
matters these days for some reason. So yeah, just trying to stay relevant there. But yeah, definitely an
Yeah.
album or an EP by next summer, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That's great. Other than the show at the Cannery with them Dirty Roses, any other uh, tour dates in the books?
Yeah, we've got September 20th, we've got Savannah, Georgia at a venue called the Barrel House, and then we go up to Statesboro September 21st for the Blue Room in Statesboro, Georgia.
Mm.
So we've got that. We've got, let me pull up my calendar. Can you think of anything? What else do we have?
Hang on, let me pull
We're
this
running
up.
all the time.
You got
Yeah.
Savannah, then Statesboro, then them Dirty Roses, then you're playing in Smyrna at Champy's, which I think you talked about a while ago,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
and then
champions. We love it.
Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So we're doing Tuscaloosa, which is always a great time.
Man, we love going to Tuscaloosa. That's a great city, great people.
That's where Cruze got in trouble for the first time with his wife was Tuscaloosa.
Let me just tell you, fellas, if you're listening to this, if it's time to go home, do not let your friends talk you into going to the Bear Trap. I don't care how good the brunch is because brunch turns into dinner, turns into after hours. I love the Bear Trap, but you will be trapped, and I was trapped. My first outing with the band, I was like, well, here, that wasn't worth it. Yeah, it worked out.
I convinced him to tell his wife we were broke down in somewhere in Alabama, and we were at the bar, and something got posted online where he's just
I'm just in the background having the time of my life. My wife,
I think there's about 4 songs that could be written out of the last 2 or 3 minutes of you guys have talked about. So, all right. So we'll kind of start wrapping things up here. Again, make sure that everybody knows where to find you guys on social media. You got Facebook. It's Revelry, or not to be confused with the bridal shower company. And on Instagram, it's at Revelry615. And you guys are on TikTok also. Is that right?
Yeah, correct.
Yep.
Same tag.
Yep. And then all the streaming services, just find their music, whether it's Spotify or whether it's Apple or YouTube. Just find the music. It is absolutely fantastic. As for our show, you can watch us on YouTube. You can listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. We also have a Facebook page that is not confused with the bridal shower company. We also have a Facebook group where we can post the things that we're drinking that evening and what we might be listening to while we're drinking it. I've had a couple of evenings out on the deck listening to some Revelry and posting some whiskey photos too. So really, really good stuff. So with that being said, until next time, thanks everyone for watching. On behalf of the guys from Revelry and myself, cheers, love, and Freebird.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'll loop in the club.
Good.